Okay, so GCSE spellings. These will allow your work to become more complex, more sophisticated if you use them the right way and you spell them correctly. Now, every single week we're going to do some spellings, and remember, write them down as many times as you can, chant them in your head, create songs. Remember, if you've got a song you haven't heard for years and you hear it again, you're thinking, oh, I know the words to this, how do I know that? Create drawings as well. So in my head, certain things and certain words I kind of remember through pictures in my head, so do that if you need to. Chant them over and over in your head. Repetition, parrot fashion they call that, or write them on a board, blackboard, like Bart Simpson did as well. Remember mnemonics as well. ABC, Armstrong, Buzz and Collins were the first guys up to the moon for the US moon landing. ABC is the way I remember them. Alternatively, scales as well, FACE, and every good boy deserves football. Whether that's true anymore, I don't know, but that's the way I remember the scales on a musical instrument. And right, okay, you ready? Here we go. So this week's spellings are 10 spellings, ranging from quite difficult to familiar to quite easy, I would imagine. Some common words in there, some uncommon words in there as well. So our first one is acceptable, accidentally, accommodation, a lot, amateur, apparently, argument, audience, believe, and committed. Now remember, some of these words might have two types of meanings, or what we call definitions, so I'll explain those to you as we go along. So this is this week's definitions and tips and spellings. Okay, so our first spelling is acceptable. It's one of those words that you think, yeah, it's fine, I can spell that, but quite often people get this one wrong. So write it down. The first spelling is acceptable. It is not acceptable to speak to me in that manner, or I really appreciate it. It's really acceptable to get a big box of chocolates off you. Thank you very much. Definition: to agree or not agree. It is accepted. It is acceptable. It is okay to do something. It is acceptable. Now, a little tiny tip at the bottom. Remember, you are able to accept a gift of spelling. Oh, how lovely. So you're able to accept a gift of spelling. Okay, it's not to accept a table, because that would mean there'd be two T's. It is you're able to accept a gift of spelling. That is your first spelling. Spelling number one. Accidentally or accidentally. Okay, I accidentally forgot to do my homework. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so this is not on purpose. Something you don't mean to do. Okay, not on purpose. And the big tip for this one is, remember, the accident happened in an alley. Okay, even though this word means a friend. So you have an ally, you call it a friend. So forget that for now. Just remember, an accident, the word accident, happened in an alley. So if you put those two words together, accident and alley, you get accidentally. Our third word, accommodation. Okay, again, there are a number of different meanings for this word, more than two in fact, but we've got to book a hotel accommodation. Okay, so that's the place we go to is the accommodation, or we can accommodate a new student. So accommodation is when you take somebody in and you kind of work with them. Okay, so accommodation, and accommodation as in a place we go, like a hotel, or accommodation we live in, like a house. Okay, so the tips for this is there are two C's and two M's, not one M or even one C. It's two M's and two C's. Two M's, two C's. Accommodate two M's and two C's, or two C's and two M's. Two M's, two C's. Two M's, two C's. Repeat it to yourself, and believe me, every time you write it, you think, I'll remember that. Okay, this is the one word, or words, and I should say that it is two words that every single person, not everyone, I'm not going to generalise, but most people get wrong. And it's the one word or words that I have to correct myself there, 9 times out of 10. So it is two words. It is not one word. There is a word called allotted. When you put something on something, you allot something, you give something to something, you put it on it. It's called allotted, but this is not that word. This is two words, a and lot. It is not one word. There is a town or a city in India called Allot, so if that's the one you're talking about, then perfect, you've got it as one word. If not, it is two words and not one. Amateur. If you aren't a professional, if you're not being paid for something, perhaps you're a sports person or you're a retainee fire person, then you are an amateur. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. It is not something you get paid for. That's what I mean. Not that you're not good at it or that you haven't got the skills in it, but you're an amateur. You're not paid for it. And that's the definition of it, basically. So if it wasn't their full job, or sorry, it wasn't their job, they did it for fun, or alternatively, you're like an amateur fireman or amateur painter, it's not your main thing. You do it for fun, or you do it because you can, or you do it because you care. Okay. The one for this, it's not an easy way to remember it, but it starts with a mat. Then all you do is stick on E-U-R, E-U-R, E-U-R. So if I'm spelling it, all I think of is a mat, E-U-R. I know it's a ridiculous way of remembering it, but it's just the way I do it. Apparently. Okay, so the definition is as far as I can tell. Now, it's not factual, it's based on certain things. And if you look at the top right corner, you've got evidently, seemingly, manifestedly. So you've got words that mean other, sorry, you've got definitions that mean other words like this. Okay, so apparently I can spell difficult words. That may not be true now, but it definitely will be true. So this is what you want to do. You want to write the word apparent, and then just all you do is throw ly in at the end. Apparent ly. Okay, that's how you spell it. It's easy to spell apparent. Just remember your two P's. Okay, if it doesn't look right, change it. If it doesn't feel right, experiment with it. Try it again in a different way. Okay, this is how we're going to discover how to spell these things. Apparent ly at the end. Okay, so our next word is argument. A lot of people here put the word argue and then M-E-N-T, which means that it would have an E between the U and the M, so argue, E-ment. It's not right. All you do is have to remember it doesn't have an E in the middle. Okay, the two brothers had a huge argument. So it means to have a quarrel or a difference of opinion. Now it's not a debate, it's not a discussion. It is a little bit further than that. If you look at the picture, it's almost like they're shouting at each other. You don't have to have an argument, shout at each other to have an argument. But remember, there is no E in argument, and we could probably argue about that all the time. But there's no E in the middle between U and an M. Audience. We use this word in GCSE, functional skills, English language, English literature, and it means the people who give attention to something. Now that may be somebody you're writing to, or somebody who's listening to you, or it might be the people on a program or something like that. So it could be in a church, it could be in an audience, something where people are listening to you or talking to you or responding to something. So the people who give attention to something. The audience gave a huge applause. Okay, so the way I remember this one, it's not an easy word because you've got almost got this D-I-E-N-C-E on the kind of between the middle and the end. So all you have to remember, okay, I say all you have to remember, is an Audi. Okay, it's an Audi car. So you look at the top right corner, you've got a blue Audi car, quite nice. I don't know whether it's French or something like that. But yes, not the car, obviously not French, it's German. But this is an Audi plus E-N-C at the end. So that's how I remember to spell it. So Audi, E-N-C at the end, and it's an audience. Okay, to believe. Again, another tricky one because you've got the I before E. So remember, sometimes the I before E doesn't work. And people think, oh, it's I before E except after C. Sometimes it doesn't work. But in this case, it does work. So B-E-L-I-E-V-E. You've got Eve on the end. I don't know who Eve is. Adam and Eve, I don't know. Program Killing Eve, I don't know. But you've got Eve on the end of it. So remember, it's I before E. Or I before Eve, I should say. I believe that every drop of rain that falls, blah, 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 blah. The definition, to accept something is true or hold a feeling about something. So you believe in something. Perhaps it's a faith or it's an opinion or you believe conspiracy theory or something like that. So remember, B-E-L-I-E-V-E. Write it down as many times as you can or think of a mnemonic to remember it. But for me, it's got I before E. Okay, committed. Easy way to remember this one. The definition of it is to dedicate to something. Okay, not it's to dedicate something to something or someone or anything. Okay, so they were committed to making this better. Easy one on this one. A lot of people forget a certain letter or certain letters, and just remember, be committed to 2 M's and 2 T's, and the rest of it's easy. So 2 M's and 2 T's. Don't forget it. Committed. Okay, 2 M's and 2 T's. So every single week what we're going to do is we're going to do spellings, and I guarantee if you start to improve your spellings, it improves your confidence with your writing. It becomes more natural and it becomes more automatic in your writing as well. These spellings will test you. Okay, they're not easy spellings. It may be that you know the words, you know the definitions, but you can't remember how to spell it. The more you do it, and believe me, the more you do go over it, the more you will remember how to spell certain things. Believe me, it becomes automatic after a while. We all make mistakes, and that's what we're here to do. Not everyone will know how to spell these things. Some will get right, some you'll get wrong. Ultimately, somebody might get everything right, and they might need to be pushed on further. But ultimately, it's about practice. Practice makes perfect. Okay, so this will enhance your writing. It make it more complex, make it more sophisticated, and by doing that, ultimately, what you're doing is you're pushing yourself into the higher mark scheme. So good luck. So we're going to test you in class or test you online. So remember, 10 spellings. Okay, write them down. Okay, don't leave it to the last second and have a quick glance at them, because believe me, although you'll probably get away with some skills that you've got, you won't get them all right. So we're looking for 10 out of 10 on this one. If not, practice, practice, practice. Good luck.